Sup you beautiful people, hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to a brand new episode of What If Deku Had an Adaptation Quirk, the ability to adapt to survive. This has always been the driving force behind all human evolution. Izuku's quirk though, it takes that one step further, ensuing that whatever fails to kill him will just make him stronger, a force to bring doom against the villains who dare to stand in his way. If you guys enjoy this What If, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other What Ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to shower some appreciation onto the incredible author responsible for this fanfiction. The link is conveniently waiting for you in the description box down below. Before we get into it though, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Midnight's been alerted to be ready to intervene the moment things get out of hand. Shota grunted as he stepped back into the announcer booth. He'd used the break between the semis and the finals to make sure those by the arena were ready to keep things under control. And the crowd? Kan asked, clenching and unclenching his fists, a nervous tic the blood hero had never managed to get rid of. Some took it as Bakugo deeming Yanagi not worth his explosions and holding back because of it. Others took it as him having fun hurting someone after an embarrassing fight last round. Shota sighed, running a tired hand down his face. Either way, I've also been keeping track of the official requests being sent in already by pros watching. Todoroki has the most, but Bakugo actually has a nice chunk too. A few names stood out though, mainly ones who don't care about a bad attitude or ones who have very rigid views on what a hero should or shouldn't be. Best Genus sent requests for both Bakugo and Midoriya. Oh boy, Hisashi pinched the bridge of his nose, this will be interesting. Noting something moving in the tunnels, Shota took his seat as the fighters moved to the arena. Bakugo and Midoriya were both glaring at each other. The aura was palpable as they got onto the stage. I'm going to show the world for the fucking faker you are, you damn Deku. Bakugo snarled, the mics picking up his words as he glared, even with whatever trigger you took, you're no match for me. Trigger, Midoriya gave a dark chuckle, eyes dancing with rage despite the faux mirth in his tone. No Kachan, the only trigger around is in that deluded little mind of yours. As Midoriya spoke, inflection put on a childish nickname Shota hadn't heard before, the erasure hero hoped the green-haired student wasn't about to shoot himself in the foot on international television. They'd already have enough of a PR nightmare dealing with Bakugo. No, my dear Frankenstein, I'm merely the monster you created. At that, Midoriya transformed with a roar as the match began. Letting out a roar, Izuku threw a heavy punch at Bakugo, who used his explosions to dodge to the side, Izuku's fist cracking the concrete arena floor. Die! Bakugo yelled, firing a point-blank explosion that covered Izuku's face and chest. Is that the best you can do? Izuku waved a gray-skinned arm to dispel the smoke, showing the only thing damaged had been his shirt, which was not burnt away. Face it, Bakugo, you're outmatched. Fuck off, Bakugo snarled, firing more explosions, one after another as Izuku stalked towards him. Years of being hit by the bastard's quirk, years of feeling the burn of explosions on his skin in his untransformed state. Burnt and healed, burnt and healed, burnt and healed. Repeatedly adapting, but never knowing it until the true nature of his gift was revealed. Now Bakugo couldn't even singe his skin with the blasts he was releasing so far in the fight. Make me? Izuku glared back, managing to land a backhand even if Bakugo dodged enough for it to only clip him. Still sent the bomber flying, and only the blonde's own impressive reflexes saved him from a ring out, the bomber shooting away to avoid Izuku's follow-up kick that had attempted to punt the bastard from the ring. Stop looking down on me, Bakugo snarled, adjusting the position of his hands to make more of a flashbang than an actual demolition. Blinking spots, Izuku staggered back a step, making it look like he was more blinded than he actually was. Bakugo barely had the chance to see Izuku's face go from blind confusion to vicious smirk before he lashed out. A fist as big as Bakugo's torso, slamming into the mad bomber before his own fist lashed out and grabbed Bakugo's ankle, slamming the one who'd hurt Ryuko into the floor. Stop acting above everything, Izuku roared back, noting Bakugo clutching injured ribs, the blonde seemingly having figured out his base power output wasn't enough to get through Izuku's defenses. You're nothing but a drugged-up cheating pebble, Bakugo seethed, and I'll crush you like the bug you are. As Bakugo shot skyward and looked like he was getting ready to spin, Izuku noted Midnight and Cementos reacting to their earpieces out of the corner of his eye. Before they could do anything, Bakugo shot down, his usual manic grin on his face, howitzer impact. Massive concrete walls started rising up to shield the audience as Bakugo slammed down, releasing the biggest explosion Izuku had ever seen him do. Izuku grit his teeth, feeling his skin actually start to burn from the powerful blast, it more than any other he'd suffered before, but not enough to take him out of the fight. Rushing forward, lashing out with his arm once he hit the still recovering Bakugo, sending the bomber flying into the boundary walls and into unconsciousness. The sight was what the audience and judges saw as the walls started coming down, higher-up cameras having projected what was going on inside the ring onto the jumbo screen. "And we have our first-year champion," Midnight declared as the medical bots came to take the beaten Bakugo away. Standing by Namori and Kan, Shota watched as the winners' podiums were raised from the ground. On the shortest one, he saw Todoroki helping an exhausted-looking Yanagi keep her balance, the two looking proud of their accomplishment. On the second tier, he saw Bakugo who kept switching between glaring at Midoriya and the floor. After the fight and once he'd woke up in Recovery Girl's office, Bakugo had tried protesting about trigger use to the professors there, that Midoriya's win shouldn't count. He and the others had shut the boy down firmly, stating that every student was checked for signs of trigger, whether taken willingly or unknowingly drugged by someone wanting to affect gambling odds. He wasn't sure if Bakugo believed them or not. Finally, Midoriya stood tall on the tallest plinth, thankfully wearing a new shirt. Midoriya stood tall, looking somewhat stunned at it all, as if the victory was only just hitting the boy. "And here are our champions, everyone," Namori called as those in the stands cheered, "and to present these victors with their medals we have the one, the only All Might." At the shout, the giant blonde oaf landed with a boom, having fallen from where he'd jumped. "I am here," All Might did one of his signature poses as the crowd started cheering louder. He'd have to have words with the man about not taking away the moment of victory from students in the future. Reaching into his pocket, All Might withdrew 2 bronze medals. "For you, young Todoroki, young Yanagi, you both worked exceptionally hard to get where you were. You should be most proud of yourself, and I look forward to seeing where your futures take you." As he spoke, the giant man placed the medals around each of their necks. "Thank you, sir," Todoroki said, voice soft and nod hesitant. "I am most grateful for your kind words, Professor." Yanagi gave a nod of her own. "I shall endeavor to meet and surpass the expectations placed upon me by my teachers and myself." Next, young Bakugo, All Might pulled out a silver medal that the blonde boy glared at like it was an insult. "I don't want that damn thing," Bakugo snarled, taking a step back away from the medal even as All Might tried placing it around the protesting boy's neck. "Nothing matters but first place. If it ain't gold, it ain't worth shit. Then think of this as a battle wound to drive you to do better." All Might finally managed to force it on the boy, his advice surprisingly good and one Shota hoped would get through the stubborn boy's thick skull. "And finally, our champion." All Might approached Midoriya. "You made quite the statement at the start of all this, young man. I know many will not agree with it, many will not approve of you rocking the boat, but stick to your morals. Continue being a hero that the water hose duo can be proud of." "Believe me, sir, I will be." Midoriya swore as he allowed the gold medal to be placed on his neck. As he did so, Shota noted that Todoroki had had the loudest cheers so far of the 4 champions. "But we aren't done yet." Shota's voice rang clear through the stadium, having already gotten the approval of 3 of the 4 victors to allow another to share in their moment of triumph. Hitoshi Shinso, the confused boy, was pushed by the other students on the field watching to step forward. "There is currently an opening in the hero course. You have proved yourself here today, so we make this offer here and now. Do you wish to be a hero? Will you join Class 1A? The boy seemed stunned at actually getting the offer he craved. The friends the purple-haired brainwasher had started to make from both hero courses cheering the loudest, which seemed to spur the boy into action. "Since I will be a hero," hearing the television shut off as the sports festival finally drew to a close, All for One focused on his pupil. "Tomura, there is much you do not yet know, much you are not yet ready to know. But I suppose now is a suitable time for you to learn. I have other allies besides yourself, Kurogiri and the good doctor. Others I have trained and let loose upon the world yet still remain loyal to me. I shall have them come here, along with a couple independent contractors. I know of 2 individuals who would be best suited to working to deal with this young Midoriya should he become a problem. And given his quirk, I am certain he would do so. They would take a couple days to arrive, a week at most, but soon all 5 rings would be in Japan." He looked forward to seeing where this went. "Welcome back," Aizawa nodded to the gathered class. "To those here, well done in the sports festival." Many of Izuku's classmates straightened proudly at that, but things are only going to get harder from here. Tapping a button, the board started showing names and projected statistics. Normally this doesn't happen till your 2nd year, but Nezu has decided to speed things up. Starting next week, all of you will be spending a week interning with various hero agencies. The statistics on the board are the offers sent in by heroes wanting to work with you. Don't be worried if you don't have an offer. The school has 40 agencies willing to take first years regardless of offers. Looking at the board, Izuku saw that Todoroki had the most offers at 4,123. What's with those numbers though? Kaminari asked confused. I mean, Midoriya won, so shouldn't he have the most offers? A glance at the chart showed that Izuku had a grand total of 8 offers. It's a sad fact that many offers Todoroki received were likely from people wanting just his raw power, a connection to Endeavor, or both. Aizawa sighed, clearly not happy about the topic, but more than that, many heroes, unfortunately, tend to be very closed-minded. Midoriya, your pledge at the festival paired with your appearance when you transform would have made things harder for yourself. Still, I'm positive you'll overcome it. The promise of faith made Izuku feel a surge of determination. How long do we have to decide? Tokoyami asked warily, noting the number of offers he had in the hundreds. You have till the end of the day on Wednesday to get your choices sent in. Aizawa answered, Thursday and Friday will be spent preparing you for those internships. I'm about to give you your offer lists to begin going through. You may go to the cafeteria to meet with any friends from 1B to compare and consider your choices. Shinso, you're the exception. Aizawa looked at the class's newest member. Given that you only just joined, you'll be spending the internship week with me getting caught up to speed. Understood. Shinso nodded, clearly determined to catch up with the rest of them. As for the rest of you, come collect your offer lists. Aizawa tapped the stacks. This week is free training to prepare for the internships and work on any issues you may have found during the sports festival. The exception is going to be after lunch. What happens after lunch? Tsu tilted her head confused. You'll be picking your hero names. Aizawa stated firmly as the class got excited, picking up their offers and heading to the cafeteria, hoping to meet up with the rest of the group from 1 billion. Yo, Tokage landed in a seat beside Kirishima with a thud. You guys got your offers, so who got the most? Was it Midoriya? Todoroki got 4,123. Izuku answered as he nervously eyed his small stack. I got 8. What? Tokage looked outraged, but Bakugo got over 3,000. You're kidding, Mina gaped indignantly, but he's a jackass. Many heroes don't care. Midoriya scowled, only wanting someone powerful and flashy to boost their own rankings. They also prefer those who look human, or at least less scary. Think about it, Ryukyu is arguably stronger than Mirko, but Mirko looks more human and, as fucked up as it is more easily fetishized. That's why Mirko is ranked higher. The polls are primarily based around popularity. It's why Endeavor is still number 2 despite having solved far more cases than All Might has in the past few years. That's messed up. Kirishima and Tetsu scowled even as Ryuko was glaring at Izuku's stack of offers, as if her glare could make more manifest from the ether. So who did make you an offer? Hagakure decided to try and get the conversation to focus on something more positive. I don't know. Izuku tilted his head as he opened his folder, pulling out the first one and freezing the water hose duo. His voice wavered slightly, noting that they'd sent in the request the day that the term began, before they went against the villain Muscular. I'm sure they'd be proud of you winning the festival. Ryuko kept her words simple even as she gave his hand a squeeze, Izuku giving her a grateful smile. Next best genist, Izuku blinked in surprise at the offer. That's a no. What? Why? Yaoyorozu tilted her head confused. He's one of the highest ranked heroes in Japan. He also tends to have very rigid views on heroism. Izuku shook his head. Remembering interviews where people asked his opinions on what a hero should be, he probably made the offer wanting to mold me into the same type of hero he is himself. Rather than let you be yourself. Kendo nodded. Exactly. Izuku went through the rest of the offers, seeing ones from Hawks, the Wild Pussycats, Fat Gum, Ryukyu, Sir Naitai, and Gang Orca. I get Fat Gum, Ryukyu, and Sir Naitai. Uraraka tilted her head. You said they were the mentors of the big 3, yeah. And hadn't the group been more than a little jealous till they found out how often he got his ass beat in those training sessions? But what about the rest of them? I'm not sure about the Wild Pussycats. Izuku frowned as he worked to remember. I think they did a few team-ups with the water hose duo in the past. Maybe it's out of respect for them. Hawks I don't know, but I don't know what all he could teach me. His method of heroics is very speed-based thanks to his flight. But hey, Gang Orca included a note in his request. Izuku unfolded it even as his friends leaned in to snoop. The letter was rather simple. It simply stated that Gang Orca, though Izuku had a lot of potential, but many would be wary of him due to his appearance. Gang Orca, as the reigning title holder for hero who most looks like a villain, was used to this and would be able to help Izuku get used to dealing with it, find workarounds, and more. I think I'm going to go with Gang Orca. Izuku nodded as he read the letter again. He reached out because of me, not because I was already friends with their pupils or to mold me into something else. Plus, he does kinda have a point. Well, that's you sorted at least. Tokage gave Izuku a slap to the back. Now let's figure out what the rest of us are going to do. Midori bro. We need your hero nerd knowledge. Kirishima and Tetsu pleaded in tandem. Help us find good choices, please. Young Tomura, all for one called the least experienced of his acolytes, come. Kurogiri warped in the still sulking disintegrator. The others have already arrived. Tomura scowled darker at that, having not taken the news that he wasn't the only pupil well. Take your seat. He nodded to an empty chair, the other members of the 5 rings sitting in their own seats, their allies not currently at the meeting. So, who are these NPCs? Tomura gave a dark scowl at the various villains. They are my pupils, same as you, Tomura. All for one's tone made the violent young man stiffen for a moment, but as for their names. There is 9, he nodded to the man who had requested the Midoriya boy's quirk, likely to overcome the cellular decay his own power caused. Wolfram, the German-based villainous mercenary and thief overhaul. The local Yakuza who was an admitted genius when it came to quirks and chemical weapons, and finally Lex Luthor. The last one was admittedly an oddity amongst his ranks, a quirkless businessman based out of America. The man had in fact turned down an offered quirk for the simple fact that everyone always underestimated him. That and it gave him pleasure making his own weapons and gear to defeat those who had powers of their own. Master, you said that you had some contacts that would be useful in acquiring the Midoriya boy without drawing attention to us for now. 9 asked, always focused on the task at hand. Yes, I'd rather avoid letting the world know of our connection as of yet. All for one nodded to the only survivor of the experiments to transplant his quirk, not to mention if he can adapt as well as the information we acquired implies then all it would take would be a single failure to make any subsequent attempts that much more difficult. But your new grunts don't have that problem. A still jealous Tomura sulked. Snapping his fingers, 2 figures stepped into the light, meet a pair of old friends of mine. All for one smirked. First is the Scarecrow, whose quirk makes those he uses it on to suffer hallucinations based upon their fears. As there's no physical harm, only a mental aspect, then UA's adapter should be unable to grow resistant. Second is a friend of mine from the dawn of quirks, Lobo. Sup, the blue-skinned bruiser belched, oh that tasted like lunch. And his aide, Overhaul looked at the rather unwashed Lobo skeptically, the man's aversion to germs shining through. His quirk is that he is immune to side effects. All for one had always found the man's quirk bemusing, but given the confused expressions of his acolytes, he supposed he would need to explain. If he was thirsty and drank poison to quench his thirst, he would be unharmed because the intent was to quench thirst. Dying of poison would be a side effect. He has done several jobs for me over the centuries and has been paid in weaponry or quirks. The loss of brain function being a side effect he is, therefore, immune to. All Might is growing weaker. If he hasn't chosen a successor now, he'll choose one soon. I have trained the 5 of you to take the remnants of my empire, All Might shattered. We stand upon the precipice of change. Let us take that leap and fly. Taking a deep breath, Izuku walked up the steps to Gang Orca's agency, the building giving off an aura of intimidation much akin to the hero who ran it. Ah, was wondering when you'd arrive. One of Gang Orca's sidekicks, wearing the full body suit they all donned, nodded to him from behind a desk. Boss has been looking forward to having you work with us this week. I'm glad for the offer. Izuku couldn't help his grin. He was a hero nerd in the office of one of the top 10 heroes of the country. He was riding on Cloud 9 right now. Glad to hear it. Gang Orca's booming voice made Izuku jump as he spun around to see the hero himself returning from a patrol, more of the identically garbed sidekicks at his side. Come on, we can hit the training room and I'll go over our plan for the week there. Sir, yes sir. Izuku nodded, hurrying to go put on his, admittedly basic, hero costume. The current costume he'd managed to get was designed to be simple and tactical, but unfortunately not all that eye-catching. Cargo pants, combat boots, and a simple shirt with a tactical vest, all designed around giving him range of movement and pockets for medical supplies to help anyone he comes across. So that's your hero costume. Gang Orca inspected him as he joined the man in the training room, various sidekicks doing different exercises around them. My quirk offers all the defense I need, especially the more I use it. Izuku explained, so I didn't see much point in adding armor or anything. Pair that with the issues I've had getting a working prototype costume, and the fact that I'll inevitably become more durable than any costume, and I didn't see much point in getting anything too fancy. His fighting style revolved around taking hits to give him the biggest openings to counter-strike. I'm guessing you've never heard of hero costumes made of your own hair? Gang Orca asked as Izuku blinked, having not heard of that. Not surprised, it's a more recent development and not one that needs to be used often. It allows a person's quirk that affects their body in unusual ways to keep up, for lack of a better word. That's how Tagada's hero suit doesn't fall off, Izuku realized. Oh yeah, Night Eye's boy. Gang Orca nodded. I heard about him. We have the same support studio making our costumes, and they have a person whose quirk lets them manipulate hair. I'll have you taken there so they can get plenty to work with and have a proper hero costume created. We'll be swinging by there tomorrow morning, so be sure to think of any ideas you want them to add in, all right? Right. Izuku nodded before noting the phrasing, swing by. Did you have somewhere specific where you planned for us to go? Indeed. Gang Orca nodded. We'll be spending the week in Hasu. Izuku's eyes widened, fully aware of the recent events that had occurred in that city. Relax, Gang Orca chuckled at seeing Izuku's wide-eyed expression. We won't be going after the hero killer. The Hero Commission has a team dedicated to that task, in point of fact. No, we'll just be picking up the slack there. Whenever the hero killer attacks, most of the pros in whatever area he targets tend to have one of three reactions. Either they bunker down and hide, thinking they're next, they clean up any problems in their act and pray he lets them live, or they double down on their work to try and handle the upsurge in crime. With so many heroes either hiding or walking on eggshells, other criminals think they have an easy shot at doing whatever they want. So, who's in charge of the hero killer hunt? Izuku nodded, calming down his worry now that he knew his mentor wasn't intending to drag him out to hunt down a serial killer. Officially or unofficially, Gang Orca snorted in dry bemusement. The commission asked Mirko to lead the hunt, but she doesn't play nice with others and refused to have help. She's still hunting him on her own, though. Endeavor was asked, and he'll be in the Hasu area as well, but he doesn't want to be actively searching for the hero killer when he has a student intern as well, let alone his own kid. Izuku nodded, having spoken to Shoto, who said he'd be training with his father. His classmate's expression had been complicated, as if it was a test for himself as much as Endeavor, but why Izuku had no idea. So, the current official leaders of the hunt are Snatch and Crust. The reports from his surviving victims state that the hero killer tends to use bladed weapons along with some sort of paralysis quirk. Given Crust's shields and Snatch's body manipulation, they hope to get the upper hand. Right. Izuku nodded, relieved to know that there was such a plan in place. Now for the week I'll be oscillating on what we do. Gang Orca continued. We'll be based out of a communal agency for the week, so when we aren't patrolling, I'll be having you work on your combat skills. Thanks to the report on your skills your homeroom teacher put together paired with what I saw at the sports festival, I'm aware of your ability at defense. Your form still needs refinement when it comes to the offense though. Along with a few ideas, I feel you need to work on to be safe. Now I don't see your hero name on the file I got sent when you accepted this internship. Yeah, I had the acceptance submitted before names got finalized. Izuku admitted sheepishly. It took some arguing, but I convinced Midnight to allow me the name I wanted. Oh. Gang Orca sounded intrigued as he had Izuku start jogging around the gym to warm up. You have me curious. What's the name and why would you have to argue for it? She thought it didn't sound heroic at first, or at least part of it. Izuku admitted, but she accepted my reasoning eventually. My homeroom teacher, Eraserhead, only gave one piece of advice to my class about picking our names. That a hero's name was meant to show the kind of hero they intend to be, the message they wish to send. So I became the Doombringer hero, Dauntless, because I intend to doom any plans a villain makes. Anyone who wishes to hurt someone innocent, to make an orphan, a widow, or a widower, I will become their worst nightmare. Villains are the monsters of regular civilians. I intend to become a monster to the villains themselves, never relenting in destroying what the villains have built. Hence the Dauntless bit. Gang Orca nodded, his stride showing a casual ease that marked him as an experienced pro next to Izuku. It's a strong name, one that you'll have to work hard to live up to. Many will question it, many will question you. Are you ready for that? Like I said in my pledge, I don't care about being popular. I just care about doing the best I can to be a hero. Izuku nodded seriously to save lives. Remember that, boy? Gang Orca nodded, having Izuku transform to spar. You'll need that motivation in the years to come. Snarling with rage, Tomura threw everything off his desk to the ground, the sound likely reaching the bar down below, but he knew Kurogiri would do nothing. No, the main issue was those damned acolytes who were trying to steal Master from him. He was the one Master chose. He was the one Master saved. Master had told him before to destroy whatever he hated, but now he was being told he wasn't allowed to destroy that cheating green-haired bastard. It's not fair, Tomura snarled, heaving violent, angry breaths. Why does Master listen to them over me? One of them didn't even have a quirk, was just some American businessman. I need to prove myself to him, Tomura panted, not caring that he was talking to himself at this point. I need to show that I'm the main character and they're just a bunch of worthless NPCs. He started rapidly going through his phone's newsfeed, frantically looking for a target. Something he could do to prove to his master why he didn't need those other 4. Hero killer. He paused as he came across the article of the man who'd killed or crippled well over a dozen heroes by this point. Yes, Tomura's dry cracked lips split into a grin that would likely horrify anyone had they been there to see it. That's perfect. With him in the League of Villains, our name will be feared. Master will see he doesn't need those others. I could even send this assassin after All Might. It's perfect. Tomura cackled happily. Hasu, here I come. All right, kid, welcome to Hasu. Gang Orca smirked as they got off the train in full uniform. Gang Orca was in his usual attire, but had given a few pieces of gear from his standard sidekick kit to complement what Izuku had until the new commissioned uniform could be completed. This place feels tense, Izuku noted, seeing how most of the civilians on the street were moving quickly, eyes flitting down every dark alley as if terrified something would drag them screaming into the shadows. I'm guessing you've never left your hometown. Gang Orca shook his head. Things tend to be pretty calm around UA Kid. Not as many villains are willing to try anything that close to a major hero academy given the number of hero teachers, provisionally licensed students, and the regular heroes of the city. Not saying it doesn't happen, you'd know that more than anyone, but the average civilian there is used to things being handled and secured quickly. Hasu doesn't have that. Add a dead hero from a serial killer onto things, and you get a powder keg waiting to go off. Izuku nodded, hastily writing what his mentor stated in one of his journals as they walked, wanting to take notes to study later and to share with his friends. Got it? Izuku nodded as he finished writing and tucked the journal away. Glad to see you're so eager. Gang Orca snorted amused. Anyway, we might run into some of your classmates today. I know Endeavor is in the area with his son and one of your classmates is working with a local hero. I think the kid put his hero name down as Tenya. What? Izuku's head snapped towards his mentor. They let him come here. What's the issue? Gang Orca demanded, eyes narrowed as the pro recognized something was very wrong by Izuku's tone. My classmate Tenya is Tenya Ida, Ingenium's little brother. Izuku may not like Ida, but he didn't want to let the moron get killed by Stain or ruin his life by going on a revenge quest. Damn it all! Gang Orca pinched the bridge of his nose. They've either gotten a backup plan in place to help the kid through whatever issues he has, or they overlooked things in the rush. Either way, the only thing we can do here is keep an eye out ourselves. Nothing against the law about the kid taking his internship here, and for all we know, he just wants to get closure by seeing where the attack happened or something. Maybe show the citizens that a member of that pro family is still doing good work. Yeah, let's hope that's it. Izuku nodded, not believing it for a second. Now come on, kid, I want to get a patrol in before we head to the communal headquarters we'll be working out of. Gang Orca slapped him on the back. Let's see how you handle interacting with people on the streets. Good to see you all again. Nezu smiled happily as he stirred his tea, nodding to those in his office. I felt it prudent to take the chance to speak, while the students were all away on their various internships. Now that we've seen the candidates perform in their sports festivals, has there been any change to the considerations? I believe I've narrowed it down to 2 choices. All Might nodded, seeming quite pleased with himself. The fifth would be young Mirio. He's strong already, is the apprentice of Murai here, so we know he's trustworthy on the matter, and has quite the heroic spirit as I've come to see. I knew you'd see the value in Mirio. Naitai preened at the, to him all but guaranteed, possibility of his apprentice inheriting one for all. And the second, Gran Torino questioned, the old speedster impatient and wanting to get things back on track. Miss Yanagi, All Might nodded, her quirk would become something truly impressive when boosted by One for All. Added to that, she has an impressive intellect and a growing support network of promising heroes already forming around her to help become pillars in their own right. And Mirio doesn't? Naitai raised an eyebrow. He has his friends in his year and is even forming a bond with the first-year group. All Might conceded, but they seem more like work-alone heroes who are close friends and don't mind teaming up. The first-year group has a greater team synergy that I've seen. Did you have anything in mind for the final decision? Nezu asked, working to restrain his eagerness by sipping tea. 2 powerful young students, he wasn't sure who he wanted to get the quirk more. What end result he was the most curious about? The semester exams before the summer training camps. All Might set down a proposed plan. You're already planning to have the students fight upper year students for the first and second years, while the more promising second years and the third years will fight heroes. Yes. I propose that we tailor the exams for these 2 to fully test which one is best to receive One for All. Then, we can transfer the quirk and use the training camp to begin their progress with it. The idea of an intense week-long session of doing nothing but pushing one's quirk over the limit would be a plausible way to explain any sort of quirk awakening. A logical decision, I suppose. Aizawa relented with a sigh. We'll have to make the tests for individuals rather than pairs like we'd been talking about, but it's still doable. And they'll both need opponents who can push them to their limits or beyond. I'm aware. I was going to suggest young Hado to go against young Yanagi. All Might nodded. We haven't seen Yanagi's telekinesis work on pure energy like Miss Hado's waves, so that will be a more challenging opponent. As for Mirio, I'd suggest having him go against Ragdoll or Miss Joke. Mirio could overpower them easily. Naita scoffed. Yes, physically, but their quirks are more mental-based. Mirio is already a jokester at heart, so that would give more for Miss Joke's quirk to latch onto. It'll be difficult to do the rapid thoughts and mental calculations his quirk needs to be utilized effectively if he's barely able to breathe from laughing. Ragdoll, on the other hand, is a capable fighter in her own right. She has to be given her ranking, but no matter what Mirio does, she'd be able to find him with her quirk and find weaknesses to exploit. It would test how well he handles opponents who he can't just brute force through. That's not All Might. Aizawa gripped his scarf. His suggestions are actually good. I try to become a better teacher, and this is what happens. All Might side as Aizawa, Recovery Girl, and Gran Torino all eyed him suspiciously. I'll consider your suggestions. Nezu smiled merrily, enjoying the chaos that always followed All Might around. The man was so useful for staving off boredom. Izuku groaned as he collapsed into the bedroom he'd be using at the communal office. Todoroki, his roommate while here, already settled in. Long day, the dual quirk user asked hesitantly. Long day. Izuku groaned into his pillow before getting up. I never realized how exhausting it would be to interact with the different people I'd meet on patrols. Some were nice, some were scared of me because of how I look when I transform. Some wanted an autograph. Others were angry that they'd lost money betting on people I beat in the tournament and chewed me out for it. Seriously? Todoroki raised a skeptical eyebrow. One of them was apparently a fanboy of your dad's and didn't like the fact that you weren't the gold medal winner. Izuku nodded before tossing his journal over. Here, I took notes on lessons I got from Gang Orca today. Figured we could compare and find what works from both our mentors. That makes sense. Todoroki nodded, intrigued by the idea. Do you have an empty journal? A lazy toss let it land with a slap on Todoroki's bed. Thank you. The dual-colored hero in training started happily writing down what he'd been taught that day. We should message the others on the group chat to see if they'll do the same. Yeah, Izuku rolled his neck. Perking up at the thought of talking to his friends, I'm curious as to what Ryaiko's doing with her internship. Ryaiko? Todoroki questioned, head tilted in confusion as Izuku felt his own face turn beet red. Slamming his face back down onto the bed with a groan, he ignored Todoroki's questions on what was going on. Polishing yet another unused glass, Kurogiri watched the tense standoff taking place in the bar. He knew that this was a bad idea but could not go against Master Tomura's wishes. Even still, he could be cautious, he could plan, and he could have an escape ready to use as needed. Tell me, the raspy voice of Stain, the hero killer, filled the bar and continued to heighten Kurogiri's stress with every moment the man spent here reeking of blood. Why should I bother following you? What is it you seek? What are your convictions? Pathetic. Stain's raspy voice scoffed. Kurogiri unable to not listen intently even as his body ached from the stab wound the serial killer had used to paralyze him. You lack conviction. Stain twisted the knife in Tomura's shoulder. You lack desire. You lack purpose. You seek me to join your crumbling little leg, this monument to your own petty dream, your childish tantrum. It is why you shall fail. It is why you must be purged. Stain worked to cut into Tomura's neck, only for the master's pale hand to lash out, grasping the blade even as fresh blood poured down the rapidly rusting steel. Conviction, Tomura grit his teeth, working to force his body up even with the blade pinning him to the floor. I might not have anything as lofty as that, but I do have a desire. Tomura's eyes were wide, manic with bloodlust to kill All Might. If the world wants to worship trash like him, then this isn't a world that deserves to exist. I'll tear it down, brick by brick if I have to. Tomura swung at Stain, who easily dodged the strike. As he watched, Kurogiri grit his teeth, trying to force his body to move. Young master, your arm. Yeah. Tomura waved him off uncaring. I'd just gotten back to full after those damned heroes shot me and now this. You should be more careful with knives, Stain. We don't exactly have a dedicated healer in our party yet. HMPH, so you do have that seed of desire. Stain, for whatever reason, relaxed. The man put his remaining blade away. It's warped, it's abnormal, but it is there. How will it bloom, I wonder? First you try to kill me, now you spout philosophy, Tomura sneered in disgust. I was testing you. Stain's calmness unnerved Kurogiri. The man had no fear of death or injury. It was unnatural. People always show their true selves when closest to death, but now we are at an impasse. While our goals fundamentally oppose one another, we do both agree that hero society, needs to be changed, through bloody force if necessary. Oh, shut up already. Tomura was clutching his bleeding shoulder and scratching his neck, the rough grating sound filling the bar. You already made it clear you wanted me purged, didn't you? I can't stand people like you who talk and talk when nobody cares, just wanting to hear the sound of your own damn voice. Young master, please reconsider, Kurogiri begged. This man is powerful. He would be a tremendous asset to the league if you know. That one word from Stain was enough to make Kurogiri snap his mouth shut, even if it was spoken calmly, voice unraised. My business here is done. I shall let you live for now. I'm curious to see how your seed of conviction will bloom. If need be, I shall return, but now I am still needed in Hasu. There are more false heroes that must be purged. Kurogiri shuddered even as he felt control of his body return. The man's insane eyes and the unnaturally long and thick tongue made his stomach turn just to witness. Hey Shoto! Izuku nodded to his roommate as he returned from yet another day of patrols, his notebook heavy with observations and lessons from his new mentor. Hello Midoriya, Todoroki nodded, putting away his own journal. I mentioned your suggestion to my father. Izuku noted that his classmate was still uncertain about how best to handle things with the man, and he approved of the idea. As he spoke, the elementalist tossed over a journal this one filled with notes about how to use a flame quirk, but also about hero work in general. Endeavor's personal habits, philosophies, and training methods. Thanks Todoroki. Izuku grinned as he pulled up his phone to check the group chat. Izuku, hey guys, just got done with patrols for the day. Todoroki, indeed. We are currently comparing notes from what our mentors have imparted to us. Hagakure, you're so stiff Todoroki, you need to lighten up. By the way, Midoriya, thanks for recommending Uebami. She's been great in helping me figure out how I'm going to market myself as a pro despite being, well, unseen. And she's even helping me figure out my light flash thingy I did at the sports festival. Apparently it's light refraction, and given how often she helps with the lighting of her own commercials, she's been a big help. She thinks I might be able to turn it into a signal beam or maybe even a laser attack if I train it enough. Ashido Gak TLDR Hagakure, Midoriya is king of mentor suggestions and I might get laser beams. Ashido, sweet. Also, why aren't we using nicknames on this chat? I demand a swanky title. Ashido has changed their name to Acid Queen. Their hero names are much better. Hagakure has changed their name to Prisma. Kirishima has changed their name to Red Riot. Tetsu has changed their name to Real Steel. Tokage has changed their name to Lizardy. Uraraka has changed their name to Uravity. Yaoyorozu has changed their name to Creati. Kendo has changed their name to Battle Fist. Yanagi has changed their name to Emily Midoriya. Wow, you guys are really eager for nicknames on this, aren't you? Shinso has changed their name to Mockingjay Midoriya. Even you Shinso. Todoroki has changed their name to Freezerburn Midoriya. Freezerburn, I felt left out. Midoriya, sigh if you can't beat him, join him. Midoriya has changed their name to Dauntless Prisma. Yay, Acid Queen, yay, Lizardy, yay, Uravity, and don't deny it Midoriya, you know you want to show off your hero name, Dauntless. I admit nothing, Freezerburn, by drawing attention to you not wanting to answer, does that not just admit everything? Lizardy, oh you sweet innocent summer child. Freezerburn, I am confused. Real Steel, yeah, she tends to do that. Lizardy. L. Freezerburn, I am still confused. Real Steel, she made an emoji of you being flipped off. Freezerburn, fascinating, I believe my brother Natsuo would like this. Real Steel, ah, it's spreading, Tokage no, Lizardy Tokage yes. Emily, Kakuna and Metapod aren't using those nicknames though. Red Riot, let those memes die. Real Steel, seconded. Battle Fist, Yanagi, it wouldn't make sense for only two of them to have nicknames on here that aren't hero names. What would you call Todoroki for example? Dauntless, Baked Alaska Emily, that actually makes sense. Freezerburn, ah yes, because I have ice and fire while Baked Alaska is ice cream that gets fried. I see where such a nickname would come from. Lizardy, you're killing me here Todoroki. Midoriya, we need to get medical help to our friend. Todoroki's head snapped up at that text. It was a joke, Izuku rushed over, managed to lower Todoroki's phone, just a figure of speech. She's messing with you, not being literal, he assured. Lizardy, you guys there, Dauntless. I had to convince Todoroki that you weren't in need of medical assistance. Lizardy, you know, I'm starting to think you should have done your internship with Miss Joke. You can still train with your dad on your off time, but she can help you figure out what a sense of humor is. Dauntless, well, he only recently started using his fire again, so that's more urgent to get a lock on now. But she might be good for a future internship. She's also good with stealth if she works underground heroic work like takedowns while being dressed as brightly as she is. Freezerburn, I apologize, but I just realized I'm not sure who the rest of you are currently interning with. Lizardy, you're all good, my dude, and I'm with the dragon heroine Ryukyu. She and Nejire from the Big Three are helping me with my flight. Plus, she might not be a dinosaur, but a dragon is the next best thing. Real steel. Still miffed Godzilla didn't send you a request, huh? Lizardy, you can prove nothing. Red Riot, well, my man Tetsu and I are both interning with Fourth Kind. He's all kinds of manly. Real steel. Yeah, Acid Queen, I went with Backdraft. He's been really helpful helping me figure out how to use my acid in a better stream. He's even been helping me design some support gear. Mockingjay, well, you know I'm working with Aizawa to catch up to you. But I did find out that apparently Adai was interested in having me intern and might send a work-study request once we get to that point. Uravity, I'm studying with Gunhead. His dojo is amazing and he's so much fun to talk to. Emily, Captain Celebrity, he's surprisingly dorky. Apparently the attitude he shows in public is him trying to make people smile and relax, much like how All Might does. Dauntless, yeah, he has a history of misreading people and being a playboy. Something he thankfully stopped after his kid was born a few years ago. But he's also one of the most powerful telekinetics on the planet, given his gives him flight, super strength, and near invulnerability. Creati, I went with Fat Gum. He's been a wonderful host and taught me a lot about replenishing my body's lipids quickly on the job given both our quirks use them. Battle Fist. Yorimusha is all kinds of intense but has really helped me improve my form and combat style. Emily, but what are you learning, Izuku? Todoroki. Izuku felt himself blush as he read that she'd put his first name, brain shooting off a mile a minute as he wondered if it was intentional, if it was a typo. What the others would think, if he should start using her first name in the chat. It was only after his phone buzzed several times did he think to check back in to see what he missed. Acid Queen, oh, Izuku, you holding out on us, girl. Lizardy Deets, I needs em, real steel, oh here we go. Freezerburn, Midoriya called her Ryuko last night. Is this not normal? Uravity, I'm pretty sure I can hear Mina squeeing from here. Mockingjay, I'm pretty sure all of Japan heard that. Acid Queen, you guys are mean. Freezerburn, I am confused again. Lizardy, alright lovebirds, speak up. Dauntless has left the group chat. Emily has left the group chat. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating what-if scenario of Deku. The possibilities were truly mind-blowing. If you found this video entertaining, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to bring you more captivating content in the future. Stay tuned for more exciting what-if stories and other amazing videos coming your way. Until next time, take care, stay curious.